What's my investment filter? What disqualifies an investment for me? And a lot of times for me, if I'm doing the research, the investment is always going to be based on an individual for the most part that I believe has some unique ability to grow a business exponentially. You know, whether that's the founder or the CEO, right? You have to believe that story to some degree to invest. The same thing goes for a lot of investments that you're not making on your own because they're being sold to you in some way. And so I tend to stay away from things where I don't trust the person that is telling me about a particular financial product. And a lot of that happens with the language that people use. And you see this online every single day. People are not careful to use words like we expect, we hope, we forecast, the probability of this, right? When I hear certainties, like I just saw an email yesterday, it's a terrible email. This person clearly bought a list of CEOs or something, and they sent an email advertising an investment, and they said that it would return 17% per year. It didn't say that they expect it to return 17% a year, that if this happens and this happens, it could return 17% a year. People remove any doubt about a particular outcome when they speak about something. And for me, that is probably the biggest red flag, and a great sign that you're talking to a complete fraud is when someone is so sure of what they're talking about. And usually they won't go as far as to say it's guaranteed, but they remove those keywords. And that tells you all you need to know is when someone removes any doubt from what they're saying, when they're talking about finance, when they're talking about investments, when they're talking about the thing that no one could possibly know what will happen in the future, but they remove those very important words, probably, we expect, it may, and they don't give you the possibilities of why this might not work. To me, that's a big red flag. But hey, guess what? I know lots of people with the type of personality where this is exactly what works on them. And it's very unfortunate because that's how people get into hot water with terrible investments, right? When I ask my friends sort of, why did you pick this financial advisor? The answer is really cute kids. That's concerning. Right? And I would say that most of us are in some kind of situation where we've made decisions that way, right? Because we're human beings. But I'd say that when you get past the surface level attributes that attracted you to a particular investment because of the person that's representing that investment and that's selling it, whether it's online or in person, it could easily be in person, that you've got to watch out for how that person talks. And so when they remove the words that represent uncertainty and doubt from the English language, you should walk away. I think the thing that drives me the most crazy, and this has been happening for like the last 4 or 5 years, is this culture of crypto bros. Now, I actually do believe that there's a place for some cryptocurrency in a retirement-focused growth portfolio, but I hate 99% of the narratives around why you should own Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, and then we go further and further down the road into God knows what. And the narratives are mostly based in a lack of understanding of finance, of economics, of supply and demand, and they're generally just based around nonsense that's been around for 100 years, right? So misnomers like, the US belongs on a gold standard, or God forbid, a Bitcoin standard. And I've made lots of videos about why the gold standard makes absolutely no sense today. And there's this enormous fear that somehow inflation is this crazy tool meant to enslave all of us that the government is using to destroy our financial well-being. There are little simple truths in a lot of these ideas, but the way that they're posed on the internet, on social media specifically, really just have one goal. And the goal is kind of like watching CNN or Fox News. The goal is fear. I think they believe that if they create enough fear around whether it's like the US dollar and fiat currency or traditional investments like stocks and real estate, that'll create additional demand for whatever crypto investment that particular person already owns. And it's kind of like, it's called talking your book on Wall Street. You already own the thing, so now you're going to go on TV and you're going to talk about it because you're now going to drum up demand and drive the price up for the thing that you already bought. Now, some of these things, for example, Bitcoin, right, as an investment, it's $1 trillion investment at this point. It's very difficult to move the needle just by creating some narratives on the internet around it. But there are plenty of smaller crypto coins today, whether that be Trump meme coins or lots of other ones. One of the dumbest things I've ever done is the last 5 years, just bought one of these level 1 crypto called A0, because someone intelligent told me about it. There goes whatever, $20,000. I think that's the most upsetting in this new world of social media and the blend of social media and investment non-advice, right? It's never advice. It's always just information and do your own research, which is, some of the worst veiled violation of securities laws that you can imagine.